I, Eric Adams, of the mayor of the city of New York. So help me God.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams took the national spotlight on the first day of 2022, becoming the 110th mayor of the city where he was born and raised. The new year found the nation gripped by the Omicron variant. For the first time, 1 million Americans test positive. The year saw the COVID death toll top 1 million as well. But there was progress. COVID travel restrictions lifted and a vaccine for children approved. The end of February saw the unthinkable. War returned to Europe. Russia invading Ukraine. Thousands on both sides have been killed, millions displaced. Billions in Western money and arms helped the Ukrainian army get the upper hand in a war that is still going on. President Biden imposes severe sanctions on Russia. The price of energy skyrockets. Prosecutions of the January 6 Capitol rioters continued. Former Trump aide Steve Bannon is found guilty of contempt. The Justice Department announces it's investigating former President Donald Trump's actions. It's just one of many legal battles for him. New York's Attorney General files a $250 million fraud suit against Trump. Later in the year, the Trump Organization is convicted of tax fraud and falsifying business records. The FBI made headlines seizing classified documents at Trump's Florida mansion, and the Supreme Court allowed his tax returns to finally be delivered to the House investigators. On a lighter note, baseball got their act together just in time. The lockout ending after 99 days and a full season is salvaged. Close to home, the Cinderella story, St. Peter's Peacocks of Jersey City making a deep run into the NCAA basketball tournament. Entertainment of a different kind making headlines, the Academy Awards rocked by the slap. Will Smith striking comedian Chris Rock after a joke about his wife. Smith apologizes and is banned from the Oscars for 10 years. A New York City subway attack left 29 injured in a mass shooting at a Brooklyn station. The gunman arrested days later. It was another year of horrible mass shootings, almost too many to mention. Just a few include the white supremacist gunman who killed 10 at a Buffalo supermarket, live streaming the attack on Facebook. A mass shooting at a gay bar in Colorado Springs left 5 dead and 25 injured. But the biggest shooting of 2022, one of the worst in American history, 19 children and 2 adults killed at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. The 18-year-old shooter finally killed by police who waited more than an hour before entering the classroom. 2022 was the year we all got bit by inflation. The Federal Reserve responds by raising interest rates to their highest level since 2008. Hiring slowed, home sales plunged, the stock market and cryptocurrencies also took a beating. Elon Musk's controversial purchase of Twitter hits new lows when he tries to charge for identity badges and fires up to half the staff. In a beautiful moment, we got treated to the first images from NASA's James Webb Telescope, the pictures allowing us to peer into the edges of time and space.
3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1.
NASA launched the Artemis Rocket with a trip back to the moon and successful return to Earth. Just mannequins this time, but a manned mission is next. Maybe the biggest bombshell of the year came in June, the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, ruling abortion is not a federally guaranteed right. Protests erupt across the nation. On a brighter note, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson becomes the first black woman confirmed to the nation's highest court. 2022 saw monkeypox hit the U.S. New York declares a state of emergency as cases soar to more than 10,000 nationwide. New moms will never forget the baby formula shortage. The president forced to invoke a Defense Production Act as international baby formula arrives to desperate parents. Wildfires raged out west, a state of emergency declared in Yosemite National Forest. Major flooding across the country. Flash floods in eastern Kentucky killed 37. Hurricane season brought pain to Puerto Rico as Hurricane Fiona destroyed power grids and caused widespread flooding. A week later, Hurricane Ian batters Florida, hitting Fort Myers and causing horrific damage. August started out with a CIA drone strike against an old foe in Afghanistan, killing 9/11 terrorist Ayman al-Zawahiri. Relations between the U.S. and China plummet to a new low after a visit to Taiwan by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. 2 months later, Pelosi's husband Paul was attacked during a break-in at the couple's San Francisco home. Conspiracy theorist and radio host Alex Jones concedes the Sandy Hook shooting was actually real. A Connecticut jury orders him to pay close to $1 billion to victims' families. In December, families marked the 10-year anniversary of that dark day. 2022 saw President Biden announce he would cancel student loan debt for those making under $125,000, only to have an appeals court shoot it down. In October, he pardons all federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. In September, the world stopped to mourn and pay tribute after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II at 96 years old. 2022 saw a new kind of migrant crisis as Republican governors from southern border states sent migrants north to places like New York City on buses. It was also the year of air travel headaches, high fares, and manpower shortages following the pandemic. Travelers suffer major cancellations and delays. Kanye West made all the wrong headlines in 2022. Anti-Semitic rants cost him hundreds of millions of dollars as he's dropped by business partners including Adidas. WNBA player Brittany Griner finally returned to the U.S. as part of a prisoner exchange with Russia. Lottery mania gripped the country with a record $2.2 billion Powerball jackpot going to a single ticket holder in California. Midterm elections saw a country divided again, Republicans taking back the House, but Democrats holding the Senate. Election deniers and MAGA Republicans fared the worst. That didn't stop former President Trump from announcing that he will seek the Republican nomination for president again in 2024. New York's very own Democrat Hakeem Jeffries became the first black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress. In a major move to protect same-sex marriages from Supreme Court challenges, Congress passes the Marriage Equality Act. President Biden signs it immediately into law. And a game-changing scientific breakthrough at year's end. American scientists harnessed the first energy gained from a fusion reaction. It's all laboratory stuff now, but it could give the world clean, limitless energy in the future. At year-end, a dramatic close to the January 6th hearings. The committee refers former President Trump for 4 federal criminal charges related to the insurrection. The Justice Department continues to investigate.